Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our NIVS home school. My dear students, hope you are all well by the grace of Almighty Allah. I am Sanjida, Rahman, assistant teacher of National Adult English Version School. Today I am going to take a science class for the student of class 7, and our today's class topic is chapter 4. In this chapter's name is respiration. We will read out this chapter and we try to understand this chapter. Let's start our class. The name of our chapter is respiration. It is chapter 4. Every plant and animal has life. For every physiological function in the body, energy is required. Physiological function. What is physiological function? Physiological function means you take oxygen and you exhale carbon dioxide. You take food, your food is digested and you get energy from the food. These words are called physiological function. In the cytoplasm, energy is stored in starch, carbohydrate, protein and molecules. So, what do you mean by cytoplasm? The jelly-like water-based substance inside the cell, it is called cytoplasm, and other cell organelles like mitochondria, nucleus, Golgi body, protoplasm, lysosome, they are contained in this cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, energy is stored in starch, carbohydrate, protein and fat molecules. In every organic cell, for all organic reaction, oxygen is essential. Oxygen is very essential for all organic reaction. Actually, the potential energy trapped in food from solar energy is converted to kinetic energy and heat energy by oxygen, which is the primary aim of respiration. So, we take different kinds of food. Where we get the food? We get the food basically from the plants and animals. In case of the plants, like we take vegetables, fruits, different kinds of crops, beans from the plants. So, these plants take the sunlight from the atmosphere, they take oxygen, carbon dioxide and they also take water from with their root and they produce food, and this energy like sunlight, sun energy stored as a kinetic energy in the as a potential energy in the food. So, actually the potential energy trapped in the food from the solar energy is converted to kinetic energy and heat energy by oxygen, which is the primary of respiration. With this energy, organism take food, move, excrete, grow, reproduce and perform all other physiological activities. Respiration is a kind of burning process where foods are oxidized to release energy. So, what is respiration? Respiration is a kind of burning process where food and are oxidized and they release energy, they give us energy. Now, respiratory process. Energy is necessary for performing different physiological activities of living organism. This energy is produced by the process of respiration. Oxygen is used to burn the cellular food in the body of the organism. As a result, energy and carbon dioxide is produced. So, what is respiration? Respiration is a physiochemical process where food is oxidized in presence or absence of oxygen, and potential energy stored in the cellular food is converted and released as kinetic energy, and potential energy stored in cellular food is converted and released as kinetic energy and heat energy, and consequently carbon dioxide is produced. So, what is respiration? Respiration is a physiochemical process. In this process, food is oxidized and it gives us energy and oxidized, and the potential energy stored in the cellular food is converted and released as kinetic energy, and with this energy we can do lots of work with this kinetic energy, and potential energy stored in the cellular food is converted and released as kinetic energy and heat energy, and consequently carbon dioxide is also produced. In the respiration, carbon dioxide is always produced, and for respiration oxygen is very essential. Respiration is a metabolic process. In this process, every organism takes oxygen from the atmosphere and releases carbon dioxide. Few lower plants and animals complete respiratory process without oxygen. In every case, carbon dioxide is released. You can underline this line because it is very important for your MCQ. In every respiration process, carbon dioxide is always released. Respiration is a continuous process that occurs day and night in every living cell of the plants and animals. So, respiration occurs in plants and animals cell in 24 hours. Now, respiration in living world. Respiration is an intercellular metabolic process. This process in living cells of plants and animals is alike, but the process of taking oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide vary in different organisms. In plant body, this exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide during respiration is comparatively simple. Plants do not have any definite respiratory organs. That means plants do not have any particular respiratory organs. Oxygen enters inside plant body through stomata. Stomata situated inside of chloroplast, and chloroplast we found in the leaf and green parts of a plant. Lenticell and intercellular space. Intercellular space means the gap between the two or more cells, and lenticell is we found in the body part of a plant. Submerged plants take oxygen through entire body surface. Submerged plants are the plants who live under the water, and they take oxygen through their full body. Animals respire through different organs in various ways. In lower animals, respiration occurs mainly through skin and trachea. So, in case of lower animals, that means amoeba, protozoa, in case of them, their respiration occurs mainly through skin and trachea. Higher animals have special respiratory organs for gaseous exchange, such as fish and tadpoles. Tadpoles are the little or kids of a frog. Perform these activities with the help of gill and higher vertebrates with lungs. We acquire our respiration through our lungs. Now, proof of energy production in respiration. Production of energy can be proved by the following experiment. Materials required: 2 thermoflask, 2 thermometers, some germination gram seeds, water boiled gram seeds, and 1 rubber clock with a hole. Experiment: put germinating gram seeds in 1 flask and close it with rubber cork. Push 1 thermometer through the hole of the rubber clock in such a way that the mercury portion remains within the germinating seeds. Similarly, fill up the other flask with water boiled gram seeds. Then place the other thermometer in the flask in similar process. Mercury level is, every thermometer is marked and noted. You can see the picture of this experiment in here. Observation: after a few hours, the mercury level is changed in the thermometer placed in germinating gram seeds due to release of the heat. But in other flasks, mercury level in thermometer remains unchanged because no heat was released. Now, why does the mercury level in the thermometer placed in thermoflask with germinating gram seeds change, and what is proved by this? By this experiment, we can understand that heat is produced and the mercury level of the thermometer is rising up in the germinating gram seeds. Now, respiration in animals. We breathe with the help of nose. What are the gases we get in and released outside during breathing? Plants and animals take oxygen from the atmosphere and release carbon dioxide. This process continues throughout the life, but the process of taking oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide in different in plants and animals. Plants take oxygen through one type of pores in leaves called stomata. Gaseous exchange occurs through various different organs in lower and higher animals such as gills, lungs, etc. Organs that take part in respiratory process are collectively called respiratory system. So, what is called respiratory system? The organs that take part in the respiratory process, they are collectively called respiratory system. Now, human respiratory system is composed of the following organs. Human respiratory systems are then nostrils and nasal cavity. Number 2, nasopharynx. Number 3, larynx. Number 3, trachea. Number 5, bronchus. Number 6, lungs, and number 7, diaphragm. Number 1, nostril and nasal cavity. Nasal cavity is a triangular shaped cavity placed above the buccal cavity. It runs from nostril to pharynx. The thin membrane separates the two from one another. Its interior part is covered with hair and posterior part by a membrane. The process of taking air through nostril is called inhalation, and where air contains dust and germs, the hair and the membrane obstruct them. Our nose part, this is called nostril or nasal cavity, and in front of this part it is divided into two parts, and in the front part there is small hair, and in the last part there is a membrane, thin membrane, and when the dust and germs get inside into our nose, the small hair try to protect the germs and dirty things from going inside of the nose, and then this membrane protect them. Now nasopharynx. Nasopharynx is the last portion of a nasal cavity. The air enters the trachea through nasopharynx. Here is the trachea, and the last part of our nose is called the nasopharynx. Number 3, larynx. It is situated at the junction of the pharynx and trachea. Larynx has sound production cords called vocal cords. On the larynx hole there is a lid. It covers the larynx during the intake of food so that food cannot enter the larynx. It opens again during inhalation. Larynx. Here you can see the picture of a larynx. It is called larynx, and the larynx tube and our food tube are together, and when we take it is covered with a thin lid, and when we take food, this lid cover the larynx, and after the the food we cannot take the food, then this lid also again open and it take oxygen. Now trachea. Starting from the larynx up to bronchus is trachea. Through this trachea air enters into lungs. This tube is called trachea. From the larynx to bronchus it is called trachea, this tube. Now bronchus. The trachea divides into two branches from near the lungs and enter into the left and right lungs. They are called right and left bronchus. After entering into the lungs, these branches again divided into innumerable branches. They are termed as bronchioles. The structure of a bronchus is like a trachea. Here you see, then trachea get inside of the lungs and it divided into different parts, and they are called bronchus, like flower. Now lungs. There are two lungs on two sides of heart inside the chest cavity. Inside of our chest cavity we found two lungs. It is soft like a sponge. The right lungs is a bit larger than the left one. Lungs are covered with two-fold membranes called pleura. So the membrane which covered our lungs, it is called pleura. In between pleura folds, some slimy substances are present. So it prevents friction with chest wall. Bronchus branches profusely on enter the lungs. These small bronchioles enter into air cells or sacs. Each air sac is made up of epithelial cell. So these air cells are made of epithelial cells. These cells are surrounded by capillary vessels. When air enters into these cells, they swell up like balloons and then automatically shrinks. Walls of air sacs and capillary vessels are so thin that air can pass through them easily. Their air sac and capillary vessels walls are too much thin, that is why air can pass them very easily. Now diaphragm. Diaphragm, the muscular layer that separates abdominal cavity and chest cavity, is called diaphragm. This one is here we found diaphragm. This diaphragm separated abdominal cavity and chest cavity into different parts. It looks like open umbrella. When diaphragm shrinks, it goes down and the area of the chest cavity increases. When this diaphragm shrinks, then it goes down and the area of the chest cavity will be larger. When it expands, it goes up and the chest cavity shrinks. Breathing function is done due to expansion and contraction of the diaphragm. This diaphragm helps to breathing. When it expansion and contraction, then we can take air from the atmosphere. My dear students, I hope you understand today's class, and our homework for the next week is homework number 4, 10 MCQ from this chapter. Till then, keep well. Assalamu alaikum.